Nation. Cue the woodshed. I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. My brother Brian, the super mad Spartan. Once again, everybody's mad. And here talking about the massive collapse known as the Rutgers game. It was pretty brutal to see that fourth quarter collapse after at least 2.5 good quarters of play time. I mean,
was it brutal or is it just part of course?
I don't know, but that's why we're here to chop it up about it. You know, as fans, you know, we want to share our opinions. You know, we're not the super talking sports writer heads about this. We're just expressing our opinion from a fan's perspective. So as you say, let's get into it.
Okay, here we are.
So, what are your initial thoughts, sir?
Well, let's go over the game. Well, I don't know what the final score was because I turned it off after our Rutgers got the ball. It was like 4 minutes left. Like our defense was spent. What was it
27, 24.
24?
After we're up 24-6 going to the fourth quarter. But yeah, we took a L, 27-24. So, yep.
It was pretty much the same thing we've been seeing all year. I feel like this team has talent. I feel like we lost to a lesser team yet again, a team we should have beaten. It's just the same mistakes going back 2-3 years now. The same undisciplined stuff. They held it off they held it together for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter they melted down. It was very similar to Iowa, except they played 1 good quarter in Iowa, and then they spent the rest of the game kind of up and down. And with this one, we played 3 good quarters, like I said, and then the fourth quarter is just, I believe Harlan Barnett used the term avalanche, and that's what happened. You know, for me, I can't be as mad as I usually am. I promise you, after that Iowa game, there was a calm that came over me, and I just understood, okay, this is what this team is. And that I should expect these things to happen. And even if you go look back, you know, on the TikTok and I'm doing my quarter reactions, my third quarter ones, hey, keep it together, looking good. Let's win this game. I don't care how it looks, just win the game. And they blew it. Those are my initial thoughts.
I will say that your brown paper bag TikTok at the end of the game, that was classic. That was classic.
You know, I'm not saying I like the losing, but I didn't feel mad. Just okay, just like more of it's like, okay, well, this is what it is. I'm disappointed. And that was how I would show my disappointment with the brown paper bag.
Well, I will say I was pretty defeated after that. I mean, I took it was like a gut-wrenching punch into the stomach. And after I made my TikTok video, by the way, check us out on our TikTok page. You can see all of our instant reactions, very funny. And yeah, it took me pretty much the rest of the day to really shake that off.
You can't
much as I could.
You can't let this.
And I usually don't. Usually I don't let losses linger like that. But for some reason, for this particular game, it did. Maybe because after I watched that debacle, I was watching Oregon and Washington.
Watching real football teams.
And that was a real football game. I mean, 2 teams, they were going at it back and forth, and it came down to the wire, basically with Oregon missing a field goal to tie the game up. But that was 2 classic football teams that's going back and forth. And I was just wondering, like, wow, like most fans, why can't we have that?
We're very far removed from that.
I mean, it's just like, and then after that game, I was watching, I think, Notre Dame and USC a little bit. Then I forget the other game that was on at the same time. But yeah, just watching the follow-up games after ours, that's what made it so, like, gut-wrenching. It was like,
because they're
wow.
They're real football teams. Our team is devoid of good coaching, and that's where we're losing a lot of these games.
Yes.
It's mostly coaching. It's not the talent. It's not the play calling. It's not all these things we're talking about. It ain't not even the play calling has been bad. It's been just coaching decisions. minor coaching decisions that have big ramifications. We're getting to it. It's just we keep seeing the same ridiculous penalties come back to bite us, and you have a 5-yard penalty there, a 10-yard penalty there, you have a false start here, and it changes the complexion of the plays.
Yeah.
And we saw it in this game. You have a punt, all right, you get the offsides or illegal formation penalty for like the zip time in this last 3-4 years, and you get the repunt. The punter misses the ball, leads to a touchdown. Now Rutgers has life because there's no way that Rutgers is going to score 3 times without us helping them in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we did.
And there it is.
Yeah. So, well, let's do what we do. The good Sparty, bad Sparty. So, we'll start with the good. I think you usually start with the bad Sparty, but I just
We'll change it up
a little bit. So, I would say that Hauser's quarterback overall was pretty good. He was able to move the ball without any issues. I really liked how they scored their opening drive. So I think Hauser being at the helm does change the flavor of the offense.
Hauser looked confident.
He did.
He didn't look like someone who was making their first start. Now, he did have some errors here and there, but it was nothing egregious.
Yeah.
There were some passes that could have went the other way. There were some decisions here and there. He did skip a ball in the dirt a couple of times, but overall, I didn't think he was an issue. It was more so, it was good to see him composed in there. He didn't look like deer in the headlights. He was stood in the pocket. He didn't back up the pocket too early. It looked like a real quarterback. I'm not saying Kim didn't look like a quarterback at times, is that Hauser's play looked better. And now I'll temper it by saying this is just Rutgers. Kim did play against other better football teams than Rutgers. But overall, I was impressed with Hauser's performance.
I agree. And also, like the O-line did their part in blocking overall.
Yes, that was a frustrating thing because the offense looked decent enough. Not great, but they moved the ball. Nathan Carter was getting chunk yard runs.
I think he had over 100 yards rushing, didn't he?
He's been one of the best backs in the Big Ten in terms of yardage and all that. He hasn't scored a touchdown in a while because our offense has been not great. But yeah, he's been. It's almost like we're back in the Warner D'Antonio days. Our offense moves the ball. They don't run the touchdown play very often. But this game, we got the touchdown play enough to win. We talking about the O-line blocking besides just the running. There wasn't too many times where I saw Hauser being harassed and having to leave the pocket or having to make a quick decision because of somebody in his face. Now, he did get hit a few times. He stood in there and took it, but I didn't think, if I had to go back and look at the game, which I'm probably not going to watch it again. Usually I watch the games over. It's been too much this season.
Save yourself. Yeah, don't do that.
But I don't remember there being any egregious, misassignments and leading to Hauser getting knocked out or, there was some. Of course, the fourth and shorts kind of got rid of its ugly head again a little bit in this game, but we were able to overcome that for the most part for 3 quarters.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we had control of the game through 3 quarters, and the second quarter was kind of like a roller coaster ride because of each team just trading turnovers. Yeah,
just a pure clown show for both sides. Up turnover. You want it? No, I don't want it. You take the ball. I think it was 4 turnovers in the span of 5 minutes.
Yeah, and the penalties too. I mean, Rutgers had a lot of penalties.
Let's be honest. Rutgers isn't a good team.
No, they're not.
But neither is Michigan State.
Yeah, we're showing to be the worser team.
And I've been saying it. We'll get to the bad part. We'll keep it with the good. We'll stick with the good for now.
Well, the good thing is we were able to score touchdowns because I think the last 2 or 3 games we didn't score any.
No offensive touchdowns. The only touchdown we had was
it's a defense touchdown against Iowa.
Yes.
And then the one touchdown we had against Washington, was that on defense or?
No, it's Hauser at the end of the game in garbage time.
Oh, okay.
So there hasn't been a legitimate touchdown scored by the offense
Since Richmond.
Since Richmond, an FCS team, and there's a reason why they had to switch the quarterback because Kim wasn't playing well.
No.
And that's just long and short of it. I don't have a huge opinion on who should have started at the beginning of the year. I just said whoever helps us win, and Kim wasn't getting it done.
Yeah, for me, I think that Hauser probably should have started from the beginning. I mean, I probably would have been a little better result because this team should be 4-2 right now. So, and I know that going back to spring ball, I think the saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong because you follow this more than I do, if you have a player, especially a quarterback, who is younger, but he looks neck and neck with the older quarterback or slash player, why not? They say he should start the younger player because he has the more upside.
I think that's why I was on Team Hauser, but I also didn't have the big dog in the fight with it. I would have preferred Hauser start for that exact reason. But you're seeing a desperate coaching staff. And so they prioritize, hey, what if Hauser goes out there and throws a couple interceptions and we lose this game? We could have won that game if Cam is a little bit more conservative and runs the offense the way we want him to. They need to be at least bowl eligible this year to calm down the fan base. But at this point, hindsight being 2020, yeah, it should have been Hauser. And then I think a more not mature coach staff, but more
competent coaching staff.
Not competent's not the word. It's more so if they didn't feel the heat a little bit. There wasn't this pressure on the coaching staff because a lot of fans wouldn't have been mad to see both coordinators gone after last season. I was for both coordinators leaving. And so now you have to justify keeping these guys. So all their coaching decisions are based on that instead of, hey, what's best for the health of the program? Instead of, hey, like you said, if you have a younger guy who's neck and neck with the older guy, you go with the younger guy because you would assume he has a higher ceiling.
Right.
So it is what it is. Like we're here now, it's easy to go back. This whole season is kind of a wash, kind of a loss. And
yeah.
I know the players can't think like that, and they shouldn't think like that. And we'll put us on a good spot. The players do show up. I've been worried about them bottoming out, and I feel like with each gut punch, I don't know how many more times they can get up emotionally for a game. I know we have Michigan coming up, but it feels more so like, okay, not can we sneak a victory, it's like how much are we going to lose by?
Yeah.
I know we're still in a good spot and that was bad, but you got to roll with it.
Yeah. I'll say, too, a good spot. The defense looked good through 3 quarters.
I would even say through 4 quarters because they're human beings. They played the entire 4th quarter. Defense played the entire 4th quarter because the offense was going 3 and out. We had the turnovers. We had these ridiculous things happening to allow Rutgers to come back. Defense got tired. And so at the end of the game, Rutgers was able to just run the ball out and kneel down and get the victory. I don't blame the defense. I think over the past few weeks, the defense has looked as good as it's had in years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not great by any means, but they're a competent defense.
Yeah.
You don't see the assignment bust. You don't see just the ridiculous of, a 50-yard touchdown pass versus, a small child out there on a receiver. It's just, you're not seeing those things anymore. So I can say there's been growth on defense. Now, it's not championship level defense, but I think it's a good enough defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying Hazelton deserves to keep his job because I don't think anybody deserves it. It's just, all right, you paid millions of dollars and you, the 70th best defense? I mean, I guess it's better than being the 130th ranked or something like that. But like I said, they've been a bright spot. And the team, Michigan State's not losing because of the defense.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's more so offense and special teams, so might as well slip into the bad. I mean, everything pretty much is that fourth quarter meltdown.
And most of that can be attributed to special teams.
Yeah.
You have the block punt, or not block, the fumble punt, return for a touchdown. Then you have the kickoff gaff right after that, which is, I don't know how to explain that. Why are we lined up for an onside kick recovery when there's like 8 minutes left in the game and Rutgers is down 3? It's nonsensical. That's coaching.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I don't know, the player had a lapsed moment of judgment and didn't think to wave a fair catch or catch the ball.
I think it was Tyrell Henry.
Yeah, the man's he's been playing pretty good all season, but that was a huge mistake. And that basically gets Rutgers right back into the game. Like, all right, now they're here. And meltdown basically complete at that point.
Whew, yeah.
And so you can't, they'll say, oh, well, how the defense let all those points up to Rutgers? The defense ended up maybe 13 points total to Rutgers, if you want to count one of those touchdown drives in the end. But again, they were put in bad positions all fourth quarter.
Yeah.
When you basically give them the ball in goal situation, okay, well, yeah, they're not a shutdown defense that's going to get them off the field and maybe hold them to a field goal. They've been playing good all game. They held them to 6 points through 3 quarters. So it's just, I say it just is what it is. They are what they are.
Yeah, and the coaching, speaking of which, and that fourth quarter was just god awful. I mean, the offense, consecutive 3-and-outs, scored 0 points, and the special teams coach, they should have just had him just walk back home from.
He's been doing it for years.
Piscataway, New Jersey, I think is where Rutgers plays.
I don't like this term, but stealing money is the best way to describe some people in this coach staff, especially special teams coach. It's just the penalties, the pre-snap penalties on special teams, the wrong formations, just little simple stuff. You don't have to be a special teams guru to know these things. It's just basic football knowledge, and sometimes it seems that this coaching staff lacks it.
Big time. And after the game, I was, like I said, it took me a few hours to really shake off the loss because of the way we lost, but
I feel for you, brother. I was on to the next one. I said, let's watch some real football.
I guess we swapped. I'm the super mad Spartan, you the super cool Spartan this week. But I was just thinking about this because they said that MSU, they had the most penalties in the Big Ten.
Not surprising.
So, to me, that's definitely a reflection of coaching. And to me, it's directly with Harlan Barnett. I mean, I was like,
he's an interim coach. Like
I understand.
These coaches are all dead men walking. Essentially, they're not going to be back next year. I think they've already been told, like, yeah, you guys are going, and
I hope so. I mean, I'm not an advocate for someone to lose their job, but to be this horrendously bad, I mean,
it just
they just gotta go.
This is year 4 of basically the same coaching staff.
Yes.
And that's the biggest issue. If this were newer coaches and new regime and, hey, they're still trying to get the culture instilled, we're year 4. These players have been here, most of them. And, like I said, same mistakes. If a team is repeating the same mistakes, that's coaching.
Most definitely. So, I was like, man, maybe by Monday they all should be wiped out.
But then there's always going to coach the rest of the season. I mean, I'm not against them just forfeiting the rest of the games. If we can just strictly just transfer over to basketball season.
Right.
But we'll be here watching them.
Yeah.
Like the masochists we are.
Oh, that was one good thing a good Spartan wanted to say is that the basketball team is ranked preseason number 4. And they got Jace Richardson as a recruit. So.
We'll see what that even means. Like you said earlier off camera, the rankings don't mean a whole lot.
No, they don't.
And sometimes we have seen Michigan State teams have expectations, and it weighing on them. I don't think this team will be like that. They have a lot of good veterans.
Yeah,
out there,
everyone's back except for Joey Hauser.
But yeah, basketball will be good. See, this is where we're at now. We're talking about moving on to basketball season. We have come full circle to John L. Smith. Like, we're a basketball school. Let's go to basketball.
Yeah, and I was having a conversation with all my college buddies, and I said that we've officially returned to the John L. Smith era because in the span of 2 years, we've let Maryland pass us, we let Rutgers pass us. These are teams that we would regularly just whoop up on, and now we can't even beat them. So now we're like staring Indiana.
And I think Rutgers
is to be like one of the worst teams in
Rutgers
the conference.
Rutgers isn't terrible. I'll say that. You know, I'm not throwing dirt on Rutgers' name, but this should be a team we should be beating regularly. In my mind, Michigan State should only be struggling to win against Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. And that's it in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I don't worry about any team from the Big Ten West. I know Wisconsin's up and down. But outside of Wisconsin, no. Iowa shouldn't beat you because they have no offense. We shouldn't have lost to Iowa. Well, we did.
Right.
Coaching. Lost to Rutgers. Coaching. We need to get back to those winning ways because I don't think the administration or the people in charge of the athletic department understand that Spartan fans would easily walk away from this football team.
Oh, yeah.
Because why should we spend our hard-earned money for a mediocre at best product right now? And
it has terrible product.
And again, it has nothing to do with the players themselves. I think those guys are working their tails off. They don't quit. They've been showing up to these games, and shout out to them. But the coaching has failed them tremendously.
Yes. Yes, it has. And I think I sent you the article from Spartan Shadows when they're talking about, well, this specific writer, he was talking about he's come kind of full circle. I know we're back to the Urban Meyer talk, but he came full circle about, you know what, I think I would like to get a crack at Urban. And the article has said, too, that the things we've talked about, that with Michigan State is damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yes.
I mean, from a national perspective, we get beat up on. Pretty much here locally, it's kind of irrelevant because it's all about the big blue wave, the big blue wall. And I think you said it last week that, Michigan State should be looking at the safe hire for the coaches, bring back Pat Narduzzi,
I want to say,
or get a coach that is, maybe 2-3 years in, and like, why can't we just swing for the fences like any other college football program would?
We should be shooting for the moon, and we should expect that.
Right.
We have a top 20 team in terms of attendance, money, whatever you want to say. Top 20. We're not playing like it.
Right.
And it's just like, okay, can we get back to there? And even through the D'Antonio years, if you look at it, all right, 2015 is the zenith, and then 2016, terrible year. You get back up 2017, basically don't do anything
18 and 19.
18, 19, just okay.
Average.
And then you have 2021, we win 11 games. And so now we're back to the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
We're back to I call them the dark ages. John L. Smith here is, SOS, same old Spartans. It's frustrating.
I forgot about the SOS.
She get a tattoo, we should put it on the flag. SOS. Spray paint it.
Or go from go green to go get that ass whooped. Because that's what's been happening to us the past few weeks.
Basically.
And then let's not forget too that they just built the new football facility.
We've been investing in it. I know when they brought Tucker in, that was part of his agreement. Like, hey, you're going to have to invest in these facilities. And I think D'Antonio was the one pushing for it. Like, hey, we need to, if we're going to get back to where we were, these are things we're going to have to do. Now, they have new locker room, they have new facilities, they have all this new stuff. So I think, in my mind, that Michigan State does have a lot of positive for a new head coach to come in here. And if we're going to go back to Urban Meyer train, and I know there is some good criticisms about Urban Meyer. Okay, does he still have the passion for it? He's been removed. It's different now. Can he still do it? I'm willing to take that chance because at a minimum, let's say he's only here for 5 years. But I think in that 5 years, he can at least raise the expectations and the talent level of the team to, or somebody can say, hey, it's a ready-made team.
Yeah.
And you can get the next bigger name person. And so even outside of that, that's why I would like a reminder, just to, hey, at the minimum, raise our profile. Hey, 4 or 5 years, you burn out, you get your headaches, you have medical things. Okay, thank you, you came in, do what you're supposed to do. We're probably winning 10 games at least. We have the recruits, we have your big time players here, and you can try to keep it rolling instead of let's hope we get the next Urban Meyer.
Right. And who is that?
No one can say.
Right.
No one can say.
I don't think MSU is in a position to really wait like that, because as we've been talking about with the new teams coming into the conference, the top teams in the Pac-12, we don't have time to wait.
No.
I mean, we don't have time to wait.
We can be Rutgers. We
five to
will
7
be
years.
Indiana. We will be these teams we're talking about right now as having no shot, just existing.
Yeah.
Just cannon fodder.
Yeah.
And then State is, honestly, it feels like we're at that level right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I think we
It's
are.
the get right team. All right, you know what? We need to broker in some things, have a tune-up game versus the good old Spartans. They'll be a good punching bag for us.
Yep.
Oh, I know they're good. Oh, they're winning right now. They're going to blow it.
Yep.
I'll never forget watching the Indiana game last year. I was watching with my wife, and they're lining up for these field goals to win and tie the game. And Indiana's laughing because like, I bet these guys are going to miss it. We're going to have our shot. And that's what happened.
Yeah, dark ages. Speaking of dark ages, those turnovers by the receivers after they got popped on the field, like wow.
It's always something. It's never the same people. And I have to believe it's just coaching at this point. And I know you guys are trying to fumble the football, but all right, Lonte Brown, the second time he's fumbled. Mm-hmm. He's already was playing a whole lot of receiver, and he had some good chunk plays in the game, and turns it over. And those are drive-killing turnovers because coming out their big plays, like 20-yard gains, up, turnover. Now you get those back, 2 field goals, maybe you win the game. 2 touchdowns, these stupid mistakes we make in the fourth quarter do not matter.
Yeah.
And so the team doesn't take advantage of all the opportunities they're given, and they just give opportunities too many times to the opponent.
To say the least. And I know one thing in regards to that loss, which was bad for us, good for Rutgers, that they had mentioned. That was one of the biggest comebacks Rutgers had since 2005 at home.
Whatever.
Like his history making.
That's the get right team. I told you. One thing we haven't, we're off the good Sparty, bad Sparty. We have to talk about next weekend, the Michigan game. And it feels like we're just going to a funeral. It just feels like, I think they've been hinting that they're going to wear the dye shadows, the all black uniforms. And I think it's fitting. I feel like Michigan is starting to play some of their best football now, and we're just lambs to the slaughter. Now, I have no doubt we will show up for a quarter, maybe 2, maybe 3. But will we win the game? I don't think so. I think Michigan is going to put it on. They tried to put it on us last year. It was crazy enough. I think this team, talent-wise, structural-wise, is better than last year. It's just now we have this thing in our minds of, okay, how are we going to lose this game?
Yeah.
Because that's how the avalanche is on them. One bad thing happens, how are we going to lose this game? And start thinking about, oh man, Indiana, oh man, Iowa, oh man, Rutgers. So the first time that Michigan punches Michigan State in the mouth, I think this team will fold because that's what they've shown. I'm not rooting for that. I will be, lathered up with my, green and white butter, rooting for the guys. I might even bring up my MSU turnover chain. And try to give all the good vibes and mojo I can, but Michigan's a machine right now. They've been running the last 3 years. Their favorites win the Big Ten for a reason. They've been making it look easy all season.
Yeah. Primarily because the conference is pretty weak.
Conference is weak, but all right. We can talk about their schedule. We can talk about this, but they've been killing teams 52-10, 45-7.
Oh yeah,
It's not like
I'm
they've
not
been
disputing.
struggling.
Oh no, not
So
at all.
we can hate all we want to, and I am a huge Michigan hater. And some of my best friends went to Michigan.
Yeah,
It's just
mine too.
It's just that I have to live in reality, and I just it doesn't seem like we have a logical football shot at this outside of letting the hate flow through you and getting a miracle victory.
And talking about the Avalanche, this is where good coaching comes in, because if you see your team is down, this is where you have that coach or the coaching staff that can say, hey, look, everything that we've done in the past is in the past. Now this is the time to really rise up.
Keep chopping.
Yes. Yes.
Get out of here. That one's
But
done.
I think that the coaching staff, just from a mental standpoint, they don't have it. They just don't have
Well,
it.
it's almost like, vacation's coming up in 2 weeks. You kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit. What incentive do they have? I know that the people say, well, they got to put tape out there and, they're coaching for their next jobs, but I'm sure these guys might get hired at a lower division, but people have seen this coaching staff for 4 years. They're not impressed.
No.
I don't think anyone's impressed with, hey, let's go get that defensive coordinator fielding the, check it, 70 best defense. It's not happening.
Or the offense. I mean,
I don't even know what the offense ranks anymore. I stopped looking at it. And I keep
Probably-
bagging on the defense,
probably
but
100.
I did see a stat that Michigan State was first or top 5 in third down defense, which I think is a little bit skewed with the Washington game because Washington didn't get to third down very often.
Did they have any third downs? Well, maybe like 2?
Didn't matter. They was getting first down, second down, touchdown. So, but if that means they have been getting teams off the field. So, like I said, I'm bagging on the defense. I know they have not been the problem the last 3 weeks of football.
It's the offense. So
It's
I sincerely
the
hope
coaching.
the offensive coordinator.
Offense came through. I know I would like to see them score over 30 points a game, but from we'll be scoring no touchdown in 3 games to scoring 3 legitimate touchdowns and then having another field goal drive. And that was a 2-minute situation. In the second quarter, they got that field goal. So the offense was moving the ball. They're doing something.
Yeah,
They
I was
showed
on the
more-
fourth quarter specifically.
Oh, the fourth quarter, they had just
Yeah, I'm talking about the fourth quarter.
that was.
I mean, they put up no points after putting up 24 through 3
The
quarters.
team was shook, as they would say. They're jaded. They were jaded. So.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think we will beat Michigan. Usually, and we'll save it because we are doing a special podcast about the Michigan game later this week, so stay tuned. But historically, Michigan has only, well, at least I'll just say within the D'Antonio era, that Michigan has only beaten Michigan State when we've been a terrible team.
Well, usually
If MSU has been at least a decent team to a good team to a very good team, we usually have beaten them.
Yeah, I think the stat is once we're an 8-win team, Michigan has a losing record against us. But we're not going to be an 8-win team this year, and I think there's another coaching stat that anytime there's not coaching stat, just the stat in general that when Michigan State goes through a coaching change, we lose this game. And I'll be there watching 7:30,
Yeah.
but I already know what it is.
Well, at least Mel Tucker, he left the programs. At least he has a winning record against Michigan, 2-1. So.
Losing record versus himself.
Yeah, that train is passed. So let's get to our fun fact. And this is a pretty interesting one. I had to do a little digging for this one here. Dig into the MSU football crates. So, the player that leads the program with career tackles, his name is Dan Bass.
Okay.
And he played at Michigan State late 70s. 76 to 79.
Okay.
So he's actually there during the Magic Johnson era.
Talking about basketball during football again.
But yes, Dan Bass, he is the career tackle leader for the program. So I don't know how Michigan State was in the 70s. I've kind of heard that they weren't the best program in the 70s.
I would assume they weren't very good.
But at least Dan Bass, he was a bright spot at that time. So that was an interesting fun fact.
Okay.
So
Learned something new today.
yes, I did too. I did too. So, well, that's another edition of Cue the Woodshed. I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan, except for this week. Well, actually, the last few weeks. Brother Brian here, the super mad Spartan.
The cool
This
Spartan.
week,
This
he's
week.
a cool Spartan. This
Level-headed Spartan.
week.
Maybe dejected deep down, broken Spartan.
But like I said, we're going to do a special edition podcast later this week. Actually going to talk to a former MSU player to get his thoughts, Little John Flowers. He played at Michigan State in the late 90s, early 2000s. We're going to be chopping up with him later this week. So we'll have that information out on our social media, TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you follow us on those social media websites as well as on our YouTube page. Hit that subscribe button as soon as you check it out. And stay tuned.
Peace.
Peace.